Hello! I am going to show you an exercise that I do when I want to either warm up or just practice, or if I'm feeling insecure and not very confident in my skills and I want to just get my hand moving and not worry about the result. Then I like to do this, and sometimes it turns into a cool drawing. But basically what I'd use is just some kind of dark marking materials, either paint, either black paint, or just I have some willow charcoal, or I have a water-soluble 9B crayon, Lyra crayon, or a charcoal pencil, regular graphite pencil to work, or even a water-soluble Stabilo Woody or Caran d'Ache, something like that. I could use a black one, or I could use a colored one. And then I use some white paint or white gesso and just some scratchy craft brushes. A couple of sizes. I start out usually with a large one. This is a 24 size, and then I sometimes switch to a smaller one. This is a 16, but these are just really the cheapest craft brushes I can find. And what I do is I use a selfie because I can pick the angle that I want and the lighting and whatnot. And if I get tired of using selfies, then I might look on the internet or Pinterest, or just take a screenshot off the television. If I'm watching a TV show and there's an interesting face, I can snap a shot of that and use that. But for class purposes or sharing with people, I have to use royalty-free photos, so using a selfie works really well for that. So I just start out loosely and just I'm just kind of looking at my photo and kind of putting in the basic shape, and I'm trying to be loose and scribbly. In this photo, I'm tilting my head back a little bit. My face is kind of angled a little bit like this. And you can see a lot of the chin and kind of an under chin. And I try and see if I can capture that. But, like I said, this is a warming up and playing around exercise, so I'm not going to be too hard on myself if I don't get it, because that's over time and practice. Eventually I will get better at it. So it's, I've got to be okay with being bad at it for a while. And a lot of days I feel like I am very bad. Some days I feel like I've never even painted or drawn before. Like it's just like, where did it go? It's kind of crazy. And the nose is upturned a little bit and very, not in the middle of the face, but more than a third up. So a little different than on a straight-on face. Get my eyebrows in there. And the nose is kind of leaning that way a little bit, like that. The texture of this cardboard is kind of cool. Sometimes I'll use white paper, but I really like having gray paper is fun, or I like to have a colored background. That's nice. So that's why I'm using the cardboard. Plus it's free. I get it in packages and it's laying around, so why not? And the eyes are, looking down. I can just block the hair in however I want. And ears out here. Not that wide though. And that's the nice thing about charcoal, is you can rub it away too. This face is a little bit more straight on this side. There we go. And then I take my big brush and my gesso or white paint, and start to put in some light areas that I see. And it's a very large brush, so I can't really spend too much, I can't get very detailed, so playing with how I can move the brush so I get some shapes in there without it. My biggest problem is not holding back enough and putting in too much. So I'm constantly struggling with that balance of just putting a little bit in and then stopping. Now I'm going to put a little black paint in with my gesso and get some gray going on. Oops, a little more gray, a little darker gray. Down here on this chin a little bit. Under the neck a little bit. More white. And sometimes I have to let the photo go if I'm just struggling. Because if I look at what's in front of me on the paper and I feel like I can shape it, just loosely still, I'm just playing and stuff, I don't want to get real detailed with it. But if I get motivated to do that, then I'm certainly not gonna squelch that if I feel inspired suddenly. But the thing I'm trying to fight is that that urge to tighten it up and start trying to make it look quote-unquote perfect. Like looking at it and going, oh, that's such a messy piece of doo-doo. I don't want to, I don't like that. Giving myself the freedom to play around with it and take risks with it, I guess, It's an illusion that I think I have the kind of control that I think I have over it. It's an illusion. The best paintings I make, the ones I'm proudest of, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. Something just happens while I'm painting, and I switch to a little brush here, smaller brush, and when I'm done, I just am a little bit dumbfounded. How did I make that happen? I don't know. I assume it's just kind of an accumulation of something that has, accumulated, like an accumulation. Some skill that has accumulated that I'm unaware of until it pops out. And then and then the next time I try and paint it eludes me again, and then I wait for it to come back, and it's just this interesting thing of when is it going to show up and when is it not. And I've heard other people talk about that, how that can happen. So I just keep on going because I figure at some point it will elude me less. Like I'll reach a point where I've practiced so much that it's a little more, it comes and visits more consistently, I guess I should say. And I love to combine paint with drawing materials. It's fun to draw with the paint, but at the same time, it's fun to go in with charcoal or pencil or something and make marks. And I can shape features and then go back in with paint again. And that kind of combination of the two different types of things, the texture and the marks they make, I think it's really interesting looking. And I try to remember to stare at the drawing, if I'm doing drawing like this, to stare at my reference more than I look at my surface. But that's a dance for me too, because I can get to where I'm kind of unfocusing my eyes on it, and then I can kind of start to miss what I'm not getting the shapes in that I want. So it's this dancing between paying attention and putting in what I see, and also being loose enough to let interesting marks happen and interesting things like that. So she looks a little bit cross-eyed to me. And it's fun to make uncontrolled marks and then have those there, and then later come in and tighten them up or trim them up with other media, because you always get this history and this little peekaboos of interesting marks and texture poking through. It's just, I just kind of let my mind go and just kind of just be with the materials and just let it just kind of get into this kind of zen-y flow thing, and letting go of control and letting go of insecurity and those things. So, you know, and you just basically, I'll stop if I get tired of it, or I'll stop if I feel like I've taken it as far as I want to take it and I want it to remain the way it looks, you know. And it's making myself stop is also an excellent practice and self-control for me, you know, because it's not easy for me to stop it sometimes, especially if I start getting tightened up and messing too much with it. But I try to think too about like exaggeration, you know, how can I exaggerate this a little bit? So right now I'm just kind of putting a little more white paint in these brighter areas, just to make it pop a little bit more. But then I think I'm just gonna I'm just gonna let that be done, done for a messing room practice. You know, and I left out details and I didn't finish the eyes and things like that. So if on my next one, if I wanted to practice the eyes more or take it further or stop earlier, I mean, it's just this wonderful way to practice that dance and to kind of get in the groove of it. So I highly recommend giving it a try, and if you do, go ahead and post it in the Art is Magic Facebook community page and tag me so I can see it. And you guys have a great day.